Ahoy ahoy! Welcome to another video. This one is 21 costuming questions for 2021. So let's just get going on this. Number one, what is your favorite genre of costuming? That's a hard one. Why did I pick that one? I would say I'm mostly into historical, especially late Victorian. I do a lot of cosplaying for a while. That was really all I did. I got really stuck on more of the fantasy styles, video games, so like Skyrim, Dragon Age, that sort of thing. But I'm kind of getting back to my roots and thinking that late Victorian is more where my interest lies. Number two, what originally got you into costuming, cosplay, etc.? This is such a hard one to answer because I don't think there was a time when I wasn't into it. Like I was the kid that always played dress up, and that was my favorite thing. Even when I got older, if there was an event where I could wear a costume, like why wouldn't I? Why would I just wear the normal, boring, stupid stuff I wear every day? And I'm trying to think back, like it never occurred to me that going to Ren Fair and not in costume, or going to a con and not wearing a costume, like why would you do that? That it just didn't seem like an option to me. And so it was in college though when I wanted to have it be as a craft and elevate it and start making my own stuff. And I really was into Firefly, but the fluffy pink dress, I wanted that. I was a beginner, but I wanted that dress. And so I was researching about that dress, and then in learning about making big fluffy dresses, I discovered late Victorian, and I was like, oh wait, no, I like that so much more. And I never did make that pink dress, and I'm not sure I ever will. Number three, what is your dream event or photo shoot opportunity? Do I have to pick one? I'm gonna do one event and one photo shoot. I want to do the prior attire Victorian balls in Bath so badly. Photo shoot opportunity. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this channel, but I used to, I hate saying used to, but you know, with 2020 going the way it did and 2021 going the way it is a used to now. Used to hopefully will resume seasonal work in the tourism industry in Alaska. Alaska is, it's Alaska. It's just the most mind-blowingly beautiful scenery, and I want to bring something up there that would look beautiful in the mountains, in the beautiful old growth forests. Possibly my Jedi, I think, would look just beautiful to have, just sitting out in the mountains and contemplating the Force. And that would be my dream photo shoot. Which of your projects are you the most proud of? Admiral Holdo. I realize she's like the most divisive character in all of Star Wars, but I don't care. I love Laura Dern. I love her whole look. There have been few times in Star Wars, as much as I love it, when I've seen someone on screen and be like, that's it. That's me. And so I went for it, and it was a massive undertaking. It was well outside of my comfort zone, both in terms of construction and of wearing that type of bodycon clingy slinky dress, but I ended up with something that I am really pleased with. It was my first Rebel Legion, well, still I guess it's technically my only Rebel Legion approved costume at this point, but I love it so much, just that I accomplished it and that it looks so close to what was on screen. Which project taught you the most? The same. I have never worked with slinky, clingy, drapey fabric like that before. I normally do historical, or things that are more like historical and fantasy based, so like stretchy stuff just is not something I've encountered or had any interest in before. I had to learn that. I had to drape the pattern, which was a nightmare. to get all the little drapes in the neck and in the back, making the whole back lay correctly, because it's heavy with all those drapes. It has this understructure inside of it that I keep tweaking every single time I wear. It was one of the few times, I hate dealing with wigs, but I not only styled it, I dyed it to get the highlights and lowlights and get that correct shade of purple. Got really into detail with all the accessories, and it was an experience. But none of those skills are things I ever actually want to use again. I have no plans of making more drapey, slinky, horrible dresses. Draft, drape, or commercial patterns? This is a loaded question. It's a multi steps on this one. If it is one of the big four commercial patterns, I honestly would rather avoid it, unless it's something where I'm like, oh god, no, I have no idea how that's going to go together. I don't know what the seams need to do. This is something out of my comfort zone, and I need a little hand holding. I avoid them. I have every single time found that making the big commercial patterns work for my body type and dealing with the fact that they are never, ever, ever true to size, like, it's less work to start from scratch. However, smaller independent commercial patterns, I will, yes, always. I love supporting them. I love having somebody else do that labor and pay a little extra money to get that step done. Because I still don't really care for the process of drafting, but the smaller ones, I find they're more true to size. They have better customer service where you can find the person who drafted the pattern and actually reach out to them and reach out to people who have made it work. And I really don't care for drafting and for draping. I have really bad spatial reasoning, but I would still rather do that than deal with the simplicity patterns that like don't match up and are 6 sizes in either direction different from what they're supposed to be. Number 7, which skill would you like to learn the most? I think the ones that are limiting me, I want to get better at hand embroidering. I do a lot of it, but I really play it safe with what kind of stitches I do. I would like to get and learn how to use an embroidery machine, or just, get good enough at hand embroidering that I don't need it. Or I would like to use leather, learn how to use leather. I do feel limited by my lack of abilities there. Number 8, which fabrics are in an online basket that you would love to buy? There is, and I almost used it for the 1850s project, but then decided against it. It's this cotton, it's a check. It's almost like a gingham with orange and like cream. But then it's not quite a gingham because it has this little bit of navy blue running in it, and it's just so adorable. And I would love to have that for 1830s or 1840s. Comment down below, 1830s or 1840s. Cute gingham plaid orange with a little bit of blue. What are the most unconventional materials you have used? What conventional materials have I used? I'm like the costumer's guide to Ace Hardware. They don't have it, you don't need it. Aside from the normal ones, like I've done the petticoat made out of a bed skirt. I've done the cable ties for boning. I think the weirdest, though. Oh, and like paint stirrers as a busk for Regency stays. That's another good one, but those are entry level weirdness. I think the weirdest is I used a drain snake to make a farthingale. Which era or genre would you still like to make a costume of? I have 2 that I'm stuck on, but have some hesitancy against like diving in. I would really love a late 17th century riding habit. I love the look. I think you look like Captain Hook but a girl. And the thing that's holding me back is mainly a lack of resources. This is kind of a funny era for costuming. There's a lot of stuff earlier and a lot of resources. There's a lot of stuff later, but nobody really cares about the 17th century. The other that I would really like is like late Tudor with the big wheel farthingale. Mostly so I can tell my grandchildren that this is how we reinforced social distancing when Granny Gan was 30 years old. What's holding me back from that one, because there is a lot more information about it. There's a ton. I feel like that look is so dependent on getting all of the little embellishment things just right, and I get intimidated because the little details are kind of something I have a hard time figuring out. Number 11, how has the pandemic changed what and how you sew and craft? It has made me kind of get back into doing it just for me. Which isn't to say that previously I was doing stuff I didn't want to do. I don't do stuff I don't want to do, ever, in any part of my life. It's one of my biggest flaws. But sometimes if there's an event in mind, it's easy to get to costume to the event instead of costuming more to my personal desires. So things like, oh, well, this thing is really big and cool right now. I want to do that at Dragon Con. Or, oh, all of my friends cosplay from Dragon Age and Game of Thrones, so I want a Dragon Age or a Game of Thrones one to go with them. And I love costuming from, those things, but that kind of pushed down more exploring of what I want to do, which is getting back into my roots of historical costuming. That's what I did during the spring and summer of 2020, was just made an entire apocalyptic late Victorian dress, which I had not done in years, and that felt really good to just be like, I'm just doing this. I don't care when I can wear it. I will find a date. Just making it because I want to make it, and I'm still kind of on that track, so it's veered me back to my roots with historical, which is cool. What costume would you like to revisit? Yes, this one. One of my first Victorian dresses, actually I think it was my second. I don't really count my first one though because it was really badly made, but my second one that I liked was inspired by the anime Korosetsuji, which I never really got into it after it got localized, but I believe more people know it as Black Butler. So I was into it before it was cool. I'm going to be one of those people now. And I did a historically accurate version of Madame Red. So it's late 1880s. There's a subplot about Jack the Ripper because everything in the 2000s and 90s had a subplot about Jack the Ripper. So I had set it in the late 1880s, and I did this bustle dress and a hat and everything, and it was this really striking and really beautiful dress, and I'm sure it doesn't fit my current body, and it is not in line with my current skills, but it was a beautiful dress, and I'd love to redo it, but I hate doing things over. I like being done with things when I'm done with them, so sometimes I really want to do it, but sometimes I just want to leave it in the past. The other thing I think sometimes is that she had a ball gown too, so could make a ball gown for her. Number 13, most satisfying technique. Any of the self-bound seams, so a French seam or a flat-felled seam, just, I love it so much. Like, I just feel like it looks so nice, and it is so nice to do, and just, Number 14, do you pick a project and then procure materials, or collect materials and let them speak to you? I always acquire everything in my life with purpose and with deliberation. I cannot bring myself to buy things just because they look nice. Just because I can't. I have to have a thing in mind and then get to it immediately. So I don't have a stash. I do not have a stash. The closest thing I have is remnants and cabbages from past projects, but I don't know. Deliberate ownership. I just don't want to get more stuff. Number 15. What are your goals and plans moving forward? I'm just gonna focus on this 1850s project. I mean, I have a lot on my plate. As of recording this, I still have to finish a corset. I have hoops. I have petticoats. I have the dress. I have the evening bodice for the dress and the accessories and the bonnet. And I like to think of stuff I'd like to do ahead of it, but I need to not do the anxiety high functioning thing where you just plan everything out. No, I'm just gonna go with it. Just gonna work on the 1850s. Number 16, do you have any sewing assistants? I have a big orange cat named Nugget and a little black and white cat named Frankie. Do you have any bad sewing habits? Okay, let me tell you. I have skirts that I sewed 10 years ago, and like petticoats from 10 years ago, that instead of having a proper closure on them, they still have a safety pin. There, the secret's out. The other thing, I pay zero attention to my footwear for my costumes. So 90% of the time I'm wearing old character shoes and hoping no one will notice or care. Number 18, tea, coffee, or chocolate? No, this is what you do. You take coffee and you put a packet of hot chocolate mix in it. That's what you do. There is no other option. You're welcome. Number 19, what do you like to watch or listen to while sewing? If I'm listening to something, it's a musical because I prefer to listen to musicals from start to finish, and I really am only like in one place and able to listen to something in its entirety if I'm like sewing or in the car or something. If I'm watching something, it has to be something that I don't need to give my full attention to. So if it's new to me, no, it has to be something I've either seen before or like don't care enough that if I miss something, it's gonna upset me. Number 21, your biggest sewing and crafting pet peeve. When the helpers try to get involved. Number 21, machine sewing, barefoot, socks, or shoes on the pedal. Let me tell you, important advice here. If you ever see me wearing shoes inside my own home, the shapeshifters have replaced me, and that is not me. So, thank you for watching whatever that was. I'd really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and have a great whatever it is, wherever you are. Bye now.